So now we're going to look at hands-on practice 7.1. We're going to look at the box model and the normal flow. So the first thing I want to do over here in where I'm doing all my files is create a chapter 7 folder. And I'm going to create a new folder in here, and this is going to be 7.1. So I'm going to open up the chapter 7 starter 1 HTML file. And I'm going to save this and to my web folder. So let me get down to my web design 1, chapter 7, 7.1. We're going to call this box1.html. And we're going to add the code to the web page to configure two div elements. So within my body, I'm going to do div class equals div1. This is the first box. Close that div out. Div class equals div2. This is the second box. Close that div out. Save this. This is what we have. First box, second box. Okay. Now we're going to add embedded CSS in the head section to configure the boxes. We're going to add a new style rule for our class named div1. Give it a light blue background with a dash border and a width of 200 pixels and a height of 200 pixels and some padding. And we're going to do that by coming up in their style. Now this is a class, so we use the period. So it says class of div1. I want you to apply these styles to it. Width 200 pixels, height 200 pixels, background color, border 3 pixels, dashed, padding 5 pixels. Now we're going to create a style rule for a class named div2. Give it a width and height of 100 pixels with a white background. So let's save this and look at what our first border did. So here's our first box. You can see our second one comes right underneath it. So now we're going to come down here. We're going to go div class of div2 width 100 pixels, so you can see it's slightly smaller than our other one. Three pixels, ridge, padding of 5 pixels, and a margin of 10 pixels this time. Save that. Launch it in Chrome. So here's our first box. Here's our second box. So now I'm going to take this file and I'm going to rename it to box2.html. I'm going to delete the content from the body section of our web page, and I'm going to actually nest these div tags inside of one another. So here you can see when they're just one after the other, right? Down here, one div, two div. But now we're going to nest them. So I'm going to get rid of all of it. I didn't have to get rid of all of it, I guess, but I did. Div class equals div1. We're going to say this is the outer box. Div class equals div2. Let's take this. in so we can just see kind of how they're nested. We're going to say this is the inner box. Okay, save this, run it. So this is when we have them coded one after the other, and this is what it looks like when we nest them inside of each other.